What up, my peoples? 1 2 1 2. Welcome to Black Comics Chat. We have a very special guest tonight, but before we begin, I'm going to introduce the man, the man, the legend, and I forget what name he usually uses, so we're just gonna go right into Marcus Kwame.
What's up, y'all? What's up? I tweeted a couple weeks ago that I tweeted the Daredevil fight scene, the hallway scene from the first season, and I was like, yo, this is my work week. But this week,
Okay.
this week was the Daredevil prison fight,
Oh.
But I made it.
Oh.
I made it. It's the end of the episode. I made it. I jumped in the taxi cab and I'm here.
That was a greedy fight.
Yeah, it was real.
Where do you work? That's all I want to know.
Well, it's not just I like my job, man. It's just like a bunch of moving parts were thrown at me. That's all, man. It's just the goalpost keeps changing. That's all.
Oh,
it's all
you know what? This is not job chat.
It's not. It's not.
Chat.
But later on, I do have to tell a very interesting anecdote, but I'll save that for the end. The end of the
Okay. Okay. And I am Latin Negro, aka Tony Snark, aka Petty LaBelle, the driver of the Red Lion. Welcome to Black Comics Chat, and we have our special guest, and Stephen Harris. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good.
Yep. And real quick, Stephen, before you go, I just want to let everybody know we also have another special guest who is working on getting connected. So we'll also have Robert Garret in the house. But for now, we're kicking it off for the three of us. So yeah, what's going on, Stephen?
Hey, just trying to make it happen, man.
Yeah, you've been busy, man. I mean, we were having some behind the scenes discussion of art life, but I know you're doing it though. You're living the dream.
yeah, somewhat. I'm doing that.
Check the check, but you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess I'll take it, Tony, just for this question. But we usually like to start off as you remember, because you've been with us previously. We like to get into it with your origin story a little bit, just to let the audience know about you. So can you just speak about yourself, and if you have any anecdotes about discovering comics as a reader and also as a creator.
Okay, matter of fact, I think I was just joining the group today, and one of the questions was, what was your first comic book? And it was Star Wars. Yes, Marvel's publication of Star Wars was my first comic. Yeah, and so it was shortly after I saw the movie. So I was collecting Star Wars comics, a little bit about Star Galactic for a little while, and I fell off for a bit. Even collected some of this this comic book that came after a toy. Remember the Shogun Warriors toys?
Vaguely, yeah.
They were like a foot and a half high or so of these giant robots.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so I had the toys, and they made them. They made a comic book based on those toys. And I collected that comic book for a while, but then I stopped for a couple of years, and I saw Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Oh yeah.
Then X-Men were guest starring on there, and that was kind of a thing. Another thing, but that was kind of a linchpin or a transition. I was going through a transition as well as with my art, because it was between junior high school and high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always, before junior high school, I was always drawing, or before high school, I was always drawing these one scene drawings of space battles and whatnot, based on the cartoon or the animation of Star Blazers. And after doing that for several years, I wanted to draw a story, tell a story, but animation was too much work, and so I figured comics was the next best thing. And so I wanted to get. I started reading comics just because I was interested in the storytelling, or I was interested in the art, and I wanted to learn how to draw figures. So that was a way for me to learn to draw the figures. So I started collecting comics through I started collecting comics and learning a little bit about the figure through the artwork in there. But my first comic when I got back into comics was the X-Men.
Mm.
And then I started, and as I collected more comics, I started being familiar with the artists who were drawing the comics, like John Romita Jr., John Byrne, Barry Wintersmith, Garcia Lopez. Later on was Larry Stroman, Cowan.
Those are big dogs.
Yeah, Mike Mignola, Mike Golden, and others. Paul Smith was an influence on me as well. A lot of people that I looked at the time. Kevin Nowlin. So I was learning Arthur Adams, Rick Leonardi. These guys I was looking at the time, or some of my favorites coming up at the time. And then I went to school. Well, my high school had a lot of art classes, but I didn't get to take them until my senior year. And I filled my schedule up with art classes. My only two requirements were English and gym, and everything else was art classes. Drawing 1, drawing 2, painting 1 and painting 2, lettering, airbrush, photography. Yeah, I took all those classes, and at that time, my high school bragged about being having the most art classes for a public school on the East Coast. And I like, who knew this? And I'm like finding this out in my senior year. I mean, I knew about them having all the classes, but I know they could brag about having the most classes for a public school. So, I was among the top artists with 3 other guys, and all of our names were Steve. One was a fine artist, and one was a graffiti artist, and I was the one I was representing the comic front. So after that, I went to school of visual arts, and then from there I met my junior year. I met my third year. I met Michael Davis and Dennis Cowan, and Michael Davis was teaching a class at the Children's Art Carnival in Harlem. So I was taking his class as well as taking my college classes, and learning more about comics in the class he was doing, as far as doing comics every week and getting a critique from him and the students. So then later on, I became Dennis Cowan's background artist and assistant, and that launched me into my career in comics.
Okay. Wow, so you came in under what era was this?
This was wow, this the class was in '89.
Okay.
And I got my first professional job in '91.
Okay, so that's like pre-Milestone. So you were working with Dennis Cowan, but that was a little bit before.
Oh yeah,
Milestone.
I was there. I was in the studio when they were doing the meetings for Milestone.
Oh wow.
Him, Michael, Dwayne McDuffie, Derek Dingle, and Jim Owsley, aka Christopher Priest.
So you got to see that before the public necessarily knew that Milestone was coming.
Yeah.
Wow, man. What was that like?
It was interesting. It was.
I mean, you might have had a more business, obviously, experience than the rest of us.
Well, I was young. I was in my early 20s at the time. So, and that was the same time Brother Man was coming out, and there was a lot of small independent publishing companies coming out. I remember when they would announce they were going to DC, I was of the mind that I wish they would do it on their own instead of being with DC. But that ended up working out for them pretty well, and I mean, it got them a wider audience. And so in one end, there's different ways to approach this game, and there's no one way to do it. Right. So yeah, that worked out, and it worked out because a lot more people know about them and their history, and that helped in the long run. But still, I mean, it's still not, of course, not discounting the independent route either, because especially nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned Brother Man, doing it indie at that time, and their story is fascinating, man, because they hustled. Like they really.
He was a model for many of us that are trying that aspire to do our own comic on an individual basis.
Right.
So yeah, so it was. I mean, I didn't actually start actually implementing or seeing myself. I mean, I always wanted to do my own comic, but I only see myself doing it. I mean, as a real possibility till the internet age, or just at the beginning, or budding into the on-demand age.
Yeah, yeah.
Or print on demand. Sorry, print on demand age. And Rob's still having problems getting in.
Oh, you still having problems getting connected?
Yeah.
Man, it's technology. All right. We'll work it out while we chat. But let's see. Did he see the invite?
Yeah. He was down. He's trying to download Chrome, but it wasn't. I don't know how.
Oh, okay. Tell him to download Hangouts if he didn't already.
I tried. Yeah, I told him to download that on his phone.
Okay. All right. This is how it happens, audience. This is how we bring people to you. Sometimes there's hiccups.
Yeah, it's a part of life. I don't know what I was going to send him an invite through Twitter, so I'll work on that in the background.
Yeah, okay.
Let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. So that's I mean that's quite the introduction. So tell us about your early what were you doing? Were you creating? You mentioned in high school that there was the 3 Stevens and you were the comic book Steven. Yeah. Like, do you have any like early comics that you were doing like when you were a kid?
Oh yeah. I started. Okay, this is interesting. Well, at least I think so. Yeah, I did my own comic. I did the page horizontally, and I was just because I wanted to do it horizontally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it was based off of the video game consoles at the time.
Okay.
So the video game consoles were like spaceships or space cruisers. So the video game consoles that I had were Intellivision and the Atari 5200.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And at that time, ColecoVision had just came out. There were other game systems like Odyssey, and game cartridge makers like Parker Vision or Parker Brothers, and Parker Brothers, and Magic. I think Parker Vision was Parker Vision, Magic, and some other game cartridge makers. So I had so the good guys, of course, were the Atari 5200 and Intellivision, and they were fighting against Odyssey and ColecoVision. And the game cartridge makers were like the various allies of each group. And so that's why and so I was like I said earlier, that's why I was wanted to learn to draw the figure, because if I'm going to draw comics, I just can't draw spaceships and not have people in there.
Right.
And so I figured I better learn how to draw the figure. So that began my journey into learning how to draw the figure, and as well as honing my abilities as drawing spaceships and airplanes or space fighter planes and whatnot. So that was what I was doing, and I did that from my freshman year up until my second year in college. And the first 4 pages I lost too. And I was like devastated.
Oh man!
I was on a bus. I was messing with some friends, messing with this girl. Just lost track of what I was doing. Left my portfolio on the bus with the pages and some art utensils in it.
Oh man!
Yeah,
and the art supplies.
Arts, yes. And so there was like rulers and templates and ellipses in there. And when I got off the bus, I was like maybe about several feet away from the bus, and then I remembered the bus was long gone by then. I was like a half a block away from the bus.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and the bus was gone. I was like, oh no.
Wow. So did you basically go back to the drawing board and draw those same pages, or did you start?
What I did was since I was making it as I went along, I really couldn't remember everything. Even though it was 4 pages, I kept optimistic. I stayed optimistic and hoped I would get those pages back again, and just continue where I left off.
Okay.
On those 4 pages. So yeah, so it was I got it like I said, it took it. I started drawing again for maybe almost a month.
Oh, you mean after you lost it?
Yeah, after I lost those pages, and then I said, well, I hope I get this. I was hoping I'll get those pages back and discontinue where I left off.
Yeah, but you never got them though.
Nah, never got it.
Well, you know what's cool about your story is like, because you know I teach art, and a lot of times you bump into, but basically when my students say like I can't draw this, or I don't like how this looks, and they just say as a general statement, I always tell them like, well, you can't just say it's bad or I don't like it. You have to say what it is that you don't like, so we can figure out how to fix it. Right. And I think it's cool that like early on you just had that drive, like, well, I need to be able to draw the figures, so I'm just gonna go work harder and figure it out. Because a lot of times people kind of throw their hands up, but you kind of had the drive to keep going.
Yeah, because I was the same. Because I was doing the same. Because I was okay. The main drawing I was always doing was that animation Star Blazers, right? And so as the evolution of my drawings were going, I would watch the cartoon and try to remember what the ship looked like. And so I would draw and be on that drawing for a few weeks. And then when I began the next drawing, I would look at the ship again and try to remember try to look at what I missed the first time and put it in the next drawing. And so you see a growth process from those drawings from the beginning to end. And those drawings range from, I think, from 4th grade to about, all those drawings collectively range from about 4th grade to 6th grade or 7th grade. And so I would learn from each drawing, even each time I look at the episode. And that was before we had a VCR. So I couldn't freeze frame anything, and it was before the internet, so I couldn't go on Google and look up the images. So I just go by memory.
Yeah, man. Kids today, man, they don't know. Like finding reference back then was crazy.
Yeah, and I didn't know about I wasn't since it was mostly a Japanese animation. Since it was a Japanese animated cartoon. The toys weren't readily available here unless I found a specialty shop, and I didn't find specialty shops until high school, and they didn't have that toy there at the time. And I was beyond drawing that at the time when I was in high school.
Wow, cool. So let's fast forward a little bit to now all those lessons have paid off, and you're creating, I mean, we're going to be speaking about Ajala, and hopefully we'll get Robert on before we jump all the way into Ajala. But yeah, tell us a little bit about your professional career, like after that period we have spoken about, like with Dennis Cowan.
Yeah, that was okay. That with Dennis Cowan, he assignment for this company called Personality Comics. They were based in Long Island. And they specialize in doing stories on celebrities, from sports figures to actors. And the first job I did was first I did a sample piece. I did a sample piece that was was KRS-One in a gunfight with police. Yeah, I don't know where that is now, but yeah, that was probably my first sample. No, it was my second sample I did. Because I did the first sample I did was when I was with Michael Davis, and that was like a 32 page story in color that we were supposed to go to editors with, which we did when going to our first comic convention, the Fred Greenberger shows in New York. But at Dennis's studio, when I was his assistant, I did a sample. They liked it. I did a 22 page story about Ricky Henderson's life story, the ball player Ricky Henderson,
Right.
and had to do it in like 3.5 weeks, penciling inks, and that was too much. So I did it, but it didn't look great, but at least I was accountable. I didn't flake. I finished the job, and at the time Dennis was on vacation or away for a couple weeks. When he got back, he was very upset with me about how it went down. But they later gave me some more work. A couple months later, but it was an 8-page story, just doing pencils about Jimmy Page, the guitarist,
right,
Led Zeppelin, and I end up in those 8 pages. I end up learning a lot about Led Zeppelin. But that was my first job. And then I think my next job was a job for DC Comics doing DC Showcase '93, and so that was my next job, and that was published a year after I did it. It was a 10-pager featuring Fire and Ice, and then that was Dark Horse. I was the first artist on that character called X.
Don't mean to interrupt. I think we have achieved Robert.
Yes.
Robert,
Hello?
you there?
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, after Magical Mystery Tour, yes.
Yeah, believe
Welcome.
me, you're not the first one to get hung up with Google Hangouts. It's a mystery to all of us.
Oh, goodness, yes. At least I had help.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Welcome. We're just, Stephen was just running down his origin story.
I was buying time for you, Rob. I was stalling.
Thank you. You did a good dance for me.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess since Rob's here, Robert, we usually start out with each guest talking about their origins with comics, both as their first memories of reading comics, and then also the origins of you actually getting into the comic business. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, when I started out, it was basically in the 5th grade. Somebody gave me a copy of the Avengers, the Origins of the Vision. And I was already reading like Lord of the Rings and different books like that. But once I started reading comic books, it just changed my perspective on how I wanted to be creating, because I always carried around my little notebooks and pads creating different concepts and everything. So once I saw the Avengers, I started really getting into, creating these characters and the visuals, and basically everything I did was all African American characters and putting them into my own context. So from there, it was just building and trying to discover ways to become a writer and get into the industry in itself, and finding out that wasn't that easy for a writer, African American writer, to get into this genre. So from that point on, I just decided I was going to find a way to become my own writer, creator, and building up and working on different concepts and going to shows all over New York. And before the Javits Center, it was all the different conventions, and either, going and discussing things with like people like Alan Moore, Rob Liefeld, and one of my idols who really helped me was Louise Simonson, and showing me the ropes and how to get into the business. And she was my first encouragement of, yeah, you can write, so keep doing what you're doing. So that opened up the door and really had me going forward. But as I said, being an African American writer, that kind of stalled everything. And I decided I was going to create no matter what. So that made me form Exmoor Studios and come out with my first book, which was called Galto.
Okay, cool. So now the two of you, obviously, you have united to create Ajala. Let's get into that a little bit. You have we have spoken about Ajala previously on the podcast, but for anyone who isn't familiar with the series, how would you describe it to them? This is for both of you. Anyone can.
Well, Rob has a more comprehensive description, and I have like a boilerplate.
Okay, cool.
I think so. Rob should go and just talk about it. Rob,
are you there?
Uh-oh.
A 13-year-old girl in Harlem
Okay.
who finds that her parents are part of a group that educates and police the community since the 1920s. So the group is called the CSC, and they are a cultural community group that's expanded across the United States. And
Rob, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you start over? I think you were muted when you started telling us about it.
Oh, okay. Galto deals about. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Galto deals with a 13-year-old girl in Harlem who discovers that her parents and ancestors were part of a group that educated and policed the community in Harlem, which is called the CSC. And the CSC has cultural centers all across the U.S., and they are definitely a group that have formed to be the equivalent to any organization that's looking to further our own development as far as African American. And her great grandfather was one of the founding members. So Jala comes a junior member in training and an agent who's protecting her own environment.
Cool. And we're about to get into a new chapter, of Ajala's story, which you guys will be crowdfunding very soon, right?
Yes. We're waiting on the review process for Kickstarter, but as soon as that's done, we'll be off and running for that with that Kickstarter.
Okay, cool. So without spoiling anything, can you kind of whet the people's appetites a little bit for like what's changed this time, or like what the stakes are?
Well, the
without
stakes
giving too
become a
much
little
away.
bit more serious in the sense of the next two books that's going to be the development for the Kickstarter is called The Change of Perspective. And we deal more with a little bit more mature matters that's involving our community and the things that are going on in the current state of affairs of society.
Yeah,
we deal with that. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, even though it may be a little bit more real, a little bit more gritty, we don't want to alienate the younger readers.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it'd be even more optimal if they would read it with their parents, or ask if they have questions, the parents can ask them so that they can better grapple with or deal with the issues we may be dealing with. It's not gonna be anything hardcore or dark, but it could get a little real from time to time in the story. And so we would encourage parents to be there if they decide to get this for the young person, to be there for them or read it with them, to answer any questions they may have about what's going on in the story, because we want to deal with issues that are going current today, be they good, bad, and indifferent, negative and positive.
Yeah. Well, I remember previously, when we spoke about it, and also just from having read the series, I think you did a good job of making it something that's accessible to teens and young people, but also kind of deal with things going on. I'm curious because obviously just so much has changed on any given week since 2016. And so like our just current climate of a country is pretty crazy. Even though there's issues that I think we as Black people just always deal with no matter what, but has the craziness of our current events, is that something that's also going to find its way into the story in one way or another?
Oh, definitely. Well, there's so much, and I'm like really getting sucked into the whole atmosphere that's going on right now and seeing like how we're going to survive in this crazy age that we're living in, and trying to, interpret it in a way that's not going to be, so negative to the, younger readers, where you're trying to say that you're going to push forwards no matter what the situation is. And as far as, the living environment, the way that, certain areas are being like, we're basically being moved and out of communities,
Right.
jobs and police brutality, and, just trying to reach that point where we could say you got to be conscious of what's going on, but don't take it in a dark, negative tone, because if you do that, you're defeated before you even start.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, so talk to us a little bit about collaboration, about the creative process of Ajala, and how you two work together to create it.
It all starts in a Starbucks in downtown Manhattan. Not starts, but I mean, we both. I mean, Rob. Of course, Rob pretty much writes the story, and I'll add some input as to what ideas we can tackle, or what topics we can tackle, and then I get we talk about the story, throw some ideas back and forth, and he puts it onto a cohesive story, and I draw it, and then we have it colored by a good brother out in South Africa who's from Zimbabwe. That is Walt Barner, Walt Mazanza Barner.
Yes.
Barner.
Okay.
And he did that awesome image of Ajala with her facing the viewer, with her turning her mask off or on with the pixelating.
Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
He did a few pages in issue book 4 of Ajala, so it's great working with him on these last last 3 issues and this current issue of Ajala. But I mean, pretty much that's my take on the process. What about you, Rob?
Well, with the process, in the sense of, we know where we're going with it, as far as when I was approached by Steve, and we just came up with a bare bones idea and expanding on it. And some of the most important things I believe about the Ajala are the instances of artistic creativity that Steve puts in there. Like, I'll give him something, and so a scene that I think is really going to stand out, and then have Steve just take it and do these phenomenal envisions of these sequences. Like, there's a scene in a place where I say, okay, I want to do a pizza parlor, but I want all the kids from school to jump into the scene, and then seeing as Steve develops it and how we could push that forwards, and then make the pizza parlor into like a haven for the children, where we could see how the effects of the community and the way the community is changing around them. And we could take that and build those characters and use that as major backdrops for like the CSC, and how they develop theirs, the older adults, when they're coming from that, where you want to keep the perspective of, the characterization of the community and build on it from there. And seeing that, and then bouncing an idea off of Steve, and seeing where we could move these characters. Like, there's going to be some really interesting characters that we sat down, and we definitely just threw out this idea in that one, where we want to enlarge the cast of the concept. Where before we were just dealing with Ajala and her parents, now we're going to be dealing more with the, important integral personalities that's going to be in the community. So it's always a back and forth, creative process, where I know he's going to have the visuals set up and expanded on, and then that just helps me, do more, in the sense of, interesting characters that maybe different individuals will latch on to and develop from there.
Awesome. So, excuse me. So my question is, where do you get your inspiration from? I can tell that you spent a lot of time writing, but where are you sort of grabbing all this inspiration
Wow.
that allows you to put all this stuff on the paper?
I'm a big researcher. I love world building. I used to do that when I was in school. We used to just, stay out of trouble. We would like get out of school, make a cake, and go in the basement and create for hours and hours and hours. So It was the point of looking at films and being really encouraged by cinematic interpretations like Akira Kurosawa and all the different classics like the Seven Samurai and John Woo films and just feeling I always thought of that if you're not gonna have the world building, you really can't get original creative content. So it was always about building and then looking at what's going on around you. The best way to be creative, I think, is to stand around, watch, and listen, and seeing how our world is going and changing. I just thought it would be cool to have a society based on African Americans who just had to take, the controls and save their own communities because even now we can see there's a lot going on where there's not a lot of control and we get divided too much whether we got to stand together and face what's going on. So I wanted to put a group that basically is standing against the tide of challenge that we're seeing going on right now in the world today.
So it kind of, and I feel like, since I'm also a writer, I feel like you probably have like notebooks of like notes and stories.
Yeah.
Is that something
Yes.
that's true for you?
Yes. Steve knows I'm always putting something together and
Yeah, it's quick
keep
too. It's
going.
like I was like, "Where do you get that?" I mean, I asked him a question. He said, "Yeah, I got something." And like, so we had this character. I said, "Oh, he has character idea for this woman, um, uh, uh, in the organization in the CSC." He had the backstory for her already. I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay." He has books and notes somewhere.
What's up?
I keep it in my head. I don't like people like Steve coming in and trying to steal ideas.
Now, do you keep that all on paper, or do you have like because I keep all my notes on Google Drive because I feel like I could lose stuff. So is that something that you do, or you just are mainly like a paper person?
Before I used to have tons and tons and tons of notebooks, and I would just drive people crazy, like throw a book in their face and go like, "Hey, read this stuff." But now it's just like I just keep them in my head. I can basically break it down, and I'll write it one, two, three, because now I get to a point where I can see the character even before I'm writing it, and it's like the interaction and the talking. So I'm able to just sit there and write out whatever after I've wrote it. If I can't see it, I can't write it. That's the way I am.
Wow, wow.
That's interesting. So you visualize a lot of it ahead of time before you even start plotting it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Cool.
And that's one of the things I like. When I went to school, I was self-taught, but I also wind up going to film school at New School of Social Research, and I did also a seminar with Spike Lee and just looking and seeing how people developed and wrote their own characters. Each person, of course, has their own way of doing it, but mine was always just standing back and listening and watching. So that's the way I always like to base my characters. I wouldn't develop them on the people that I know. It's just the point of listening and seeing everything around me and come out with a character.
So did you feel like that experience with learning about film? I mean, do you feel like it was a natural transition to the shift to comics?
Um, because I always think that comics are a cinematic medium, and if you can convey, what you're seeing in front of people and seeing your characters and knowing that they can do it. And I think films are always something that's going to open your mind and maybe you'll see something different from the perspective of the character than what they have on the screen.
Right.
But you have that opening and you have that gap where I think that's where people get connected to their characters because it isn't always what the writer wanted. It's what they're seeing on screen and on page. So you could take it in so many different directions.
Cool. Does everyone have headphones on? I'm getting a little bit of feedback.
No, I don't have headphones.
Oh, you don't?
No.
All right. Well, maybe even if you just turn your volume down just a little bit on the speakers.
How's that?
All right, cool. Yeah, sounds good.
So my question is, how detailed are the scripts? Like, do you give Steven all the stuff that he needs, or does he fill in the gaps with the amazing art? And I'm always interested in how sort of the writer and the artist sort of interact with each other.
Well, it's a marriage of I let Steve go with the majority of the sequences, but I do get detailed in like some of the nuances of movement and gestures. But Steve basically does, these great, descriptions and specific, details on pages that you gotta let him just run with it. You gotta give him his leeway. But with other artists, I would tend more to be more descriptive, and I mean even down to the raindrop. I'll describe it.
Can you give us an example of how you would describe the raindrop?
All depends. Like it could be a little bit frosty, where the cold rain, and then you might have a little bit warm, smooth rain that hits you in the face and makes you feel nice and relaxed. Don't get me started.
Listen, if you've gone through the rigmaroles of your other young artists and upperclassmen or teachers or older professionals critiquing your work, you get a knack for trying to think of everything.
Right.
Whether it's light source, where they are, the seasons, the weather, how the wind blows, the type of shoes someone's wearing.
Yep.
It's like, because I remember going through School's Larch and good critiques from upperclassmen and going through the ringer with some of those guys. I called two of them the hard master and the soft master, based on the two characters from the G.I. Joe story of Snake Eyes' mentors.
Okay.
These guys I called one was Rashid. I called him the hard master because he would look at my work and look at it, study it, and just tear me a new one. And there was Edgar, who was a soft master, who would still tear me a new one, but look at it like, yeah, this is great. Wow, look at this, and then start going and picking it apart.
That's good though, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you had to put your ego in your pocket. Well, I had to put my ego in the pocket because up to that point, anytime I got a critique from somebody, I said, "Oh, they're not an artist, so they don't really understand." But then you get people like teachers and other young artists who were the best in their school or top in their school giving me critiques. I had to listen. I said, "Okay, I gotta listen to this."
Yeah.
Because they know what they're talking about, and they're good. They're really good. Edgar would sit in the lounge area and just draw all of us and make fun of us while he's drawing us. And it would draw caricatures of us and have cartoon caricatures of us looking like us in our individual characteristics, whether we a certain whatever made us us. He captured that and did it to make fun of us while we acted up in this, or we did something he didn't like we were doing. So he was he was and is still very talented.
Well, it's funny. I mean, one theme I think that's carried a lot as you've spoken about your your artistic journey is fundamentals, and I think it really shows in your art. The last time we spoke, I think it was when we I think it was when we spoke about Ajala. We also spoke about Solar Man, but Robert had mentioned that cafeteria scene, and I think that's a good example of your use of perspective, but also the way that you create environments. And it's not just just a kind of rudimentary, like here's the figures and here's what they're doing. Like you really kind of create an entire scene and environment, which conversely with a book like Ajala, that is so community focused. I think is important.
Personality. I want the scene to have a personality because not all pizzerias look the same.
Right.
So I'll reference pizzerias. I mean, a lot of them have the pictures on the walls. They're very community oriented or have a community personality to them because they've been in the community for a while. And then you've been around times where the kids are running around after school, or we're going in there in the restaurants or the pizzerias, and just being teenagers, being social, having their stories being animated. And that's the beauty of what we're trying to capture in the book, the community, and in the dynamic comic book way that involves culture and some of the current day realities of our lives here. And that's what I wanted to do with I wanted to incorporate, when I was doing regular work for DC Comics, and when I was doing Aztec, or in the late 90s, early 2000s, I always wanted to do something Black, and I just didn't see how I could do it. First, I didn't know how to write, and I didn't see where I get the time to do it, because if I was working for Marvel and DC, where would I get the time to do my own book?
Right.
And so, and I fell on the storyboards, and then I met someone named Gray who helped me with kind of form a story, and I was able to do my own story with another book, and incorporate us into it. I wanted to show us in our nuances and our different looks, our different hairstyles, and our different personalities, and have us doing cool stuff. I wanted to incorporate my influences of animation and comic books and Black history, and do some kind of fun thing. And Jalo was one of the fun things that I collaborate with Rob with, and I'm lucky to have him as a great writer he is, and the dialogue he produces, and we're all on the same mindset, same wavelength as far as what we want to do with have Black people doing cool things in comic books.
So let's kind of dig into that a little bit, because obviously, Rob, you were speaking about how that's was a driving force of creating Exmoor Studios, was the challenges of being a Black creator and also telling your own stories. So yeah, like speak a little bit about that, about Exmoor, and about your drive to make sure that these stories can be told.
Wow, the drive, that's one of my favorite lines is comic book publishing is not for the faint of heart. And you really got to embrace it, of the ups and the downs. There's been so many things like the culture of comics that dealing with, of going to the shows and seeing it and getting back the negativity of, nobody wants to read this. When I first came out, we didn't have all of this, the internet and all the other, things that you're able to access at this point. So it was like traveling. There were times when I used to go with friends at the beginning of Exmoor, and we traveled to Chicago and stay in little ratty hotels, and with the burn marks in the bed sheets and everything else going on. But it was just going around and seeing so many African American creators that kept me going, and seeing that I got to meet people like Gray, Machindo, uh, meeting with Regine Sawyer from Lock It Down Productions. There were so many people that encouraged it. And dealing with this, it keeps you pushing and building, and you want to see it. And now it's getting to a point where no matter what, there's so many Black creators out there now doing it, that it's become like a club and a society of, creators, where you can go back and forth now and get that encouragement and keep going, because you get better when you get challenged, and being challenged by other creators with great material helps us out.
Yeah, we get
And
support.
now
Okay,
with Exmoor, I have so many, titles, and I'm working on projects for other people, which, like Warrior Island. I'm working with an MMA fighting team, and I got to meet and now friends with Ron Van Cleef, the legendary martial artist. He was in the films. He got his name from Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
the Black Dragon. And dealing with it, now I'm writing a book with him as one of the characters in there. So there's just so many things that we got to take and, hold on to, that'll keep us further in this industry. Because if you're just doing it just to make money and be successful, you got a hard road. it isn't that easy. We all should know that as far as the business aspect goes. And if you don't have the love for it, I don't think it's going to be experience you're going to get. You
Yeah, and
have to
also,
be able to embrace it.
we get the support from the comic book shows, the Black oriented comic conventions, shows like yours, your podcast, and Black Radio or Black um, media that support us in getting the word out for what we're doing. So it's like it's very, and also of course the fans who demand this stuff that we're doing when they see themselves in the books, when they see their stories, when they see the nuances. So this makes for a great synergy and team effort to bring us all together to do this.
Yeah. Well, two things. I mean, first, I always give, a lot of props to you guys that were doing it like pre-internet, like you said, because it's like now we have this kind of support system that we've built up. You know what I mean? But it was like, there was a little bit more isolation back then, and you guys were navigating all the same challenges, without having the exact same support structure or all the avenues to get your work out. So, I think that's like really important that you guys persevered, during that era. And the other thing, just listening to you speaking about that, Ron Van Cleef project. Yeah, man, we don't. I don't think we have enough Black martial arts comics. I mean, there's definitely been some. I'm not saying there aren't any, but I don't think you can have too much either. So,
Right, because it does have the arena, and there are books out there, but never really spotlighting us. Like you got that great show, the Urban Action Showcase, that happens once a year, and you have all of these martial art legends, and they're just walking around, and there's stories to be told, and there's personalities to be portrayed. But I don't think nobody's really tapping that resource, and
right.
it's a shame. It's just like we're basically getting into the medium as far as films and animation, but there's such a mine of talent out there that people really do need to start digging up and seeing. But we got to open those doors, and definitely support each other. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So, yeah. So the campaign is starting soon. I know there's the whole process of getting it approved through Kickstarter.
We didn't know that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more. So the previous issues, did you fund those through Kickstarter or is
No, we funded through our pockets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it's been such a short run. And right now we're really trying to galvanize them and get more issues out. And hopefully this year we're really going to be putting down a decent amount of Ajala material, because we do have a lot of people that want to know more about the character. We've gotten so many individuals coming to us at the conventions and shows. Like one young lady came over, she's a high school student. She brought over five of her girlfriends and made them all buy issues of Ajala, because she was like, she was tired of them coming over there and going through her books. You love to see things like that, but that's the kind of response we've been getting.
Yeah, that's a great story. And now I think about it, yeah, like I mean, it's a powerful story, but I appreciate it. But I can only imagine like being, a young Black high school girl, in a situation where you really don't see yourself enough, and to read a story about a character like Ajala, it's got to. I can see why they're fighting over the issues.
Yeah, and it's wonderful seeing these young cosplayers, just being happy and running through the place. I mean, I've seen a couple shows have videos where they went to the Comic-Con or other cons and videotape different young cosplayers of color just doing their thing and being so happy and enthusiastic. And it's like, I think the For All Nerds show had a video up of some cosplayers just demonstrating their work and with some music behind it in slow motion. It looked great. And just seeing young Black folks being happy and doing it and just nerding out, being happy, and I think I'm very happy to be a part of that, and have people maybe one day. Well, we had one person cosplay Ajala, that was cool, and so hopefully we get some more people to cosplay Ajala and be out in the videos displaying their talent in cosplaying.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's got to be an honor to see your character in cosplay.
Oh, without a doubt. We've had some characters already do the Jaya character from my Galto concept, and I'm always working with Eric Morin, the Great Smoke, and he does a character. I created a character for him, which he's done. He's already worked out the costume and had it all set up and prepared. And he came to the show and showed it to me, and I was like, wow, just to see somebody, of that level coming out there and really get entertained by some of the characters I created and have him doing it. And we've gotten so many other ones that want to do Keelan Jakes, but the majority of the time is always guys that are like shorter than I am with no muscles, talking about they're gonna bust out with a Keelan Jakes character. And it's like Keelan's like 6'5" and like almost 300 pounds. It's kind of hard for you to stand there unless you're in a box, you know, trying to be these characters. So it's always interesting. Have fun and do it, but just to see people that want to portray your creativity is really an honor.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So Tony, is it about chat time?
It's about that time, but I have one more question before we get there.
Yeah.
Have you thought about the type of, I guess, the type of gift you're going to be giving for your Kickstarter, like your goals and stuff like that? Have you thought about that? And what can you give us a sneak peek of what that might be?
Yeah, we're going to give, of course, the basics, like a PDF of the book, of the double book, 5 and 6. We have even offer with a PDF of all the books from books 1 through 6, collected in one edition. Also the printed versions of them as well. Even some offers where we offer. We offering, Rob, like
well, one is definitely going to be the Jala calendar for 2019. Mm-hmm. I put it together so there's going to be available for as a Kickstarter version. We're also working on postcards and a pen, a designer pen with the CSC or the Jala logo on there. Also, so it's going to be different things that would be direct merchandising to the Jala. We really wanted to get some, the pens that look really cool with her lip mask on there. So we're kind of tinkering with it right now, but look forward to that also.
Also, we're offering original artwork from the book, limited offers of that, and original or either original artwork of selected pages, and for a higher rate, original artwork of your choice, and or a commission of any character in a universe that you want. Doesn't have to be restricted to the Ajala book. It could be if you want a commission of Black Panther or Shuri or Spider-Man. If you want, that's one level. And the last thing was, well, not the last thing, but one more thing I'll say, we're offering some of our time to either coach you in writing or drawing.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's dope. That's dope.
And that's not necessarily a reward that you hear on every campaign. That's pretty unique.
Yeah, so we're gonna give some of our time to look at your portfolio or to look at your writing.
Wow, that's a good thing to open doors for like the younger creators to see, give them something to look at where it's not this pat you on the head and say good job and keep moving forwards, where you can get some kind of detail and maybe a perspective because there's so many people that come to the shows, you know, and their parents are there or whatever, and they'll push them over to ask questions. And, you know, as you bring it out of them, you can see in their eyes, you know, the anticipation, excitement that, you know, they do have some ability, but it's just the point having somebody doing something that you want to do and giving you the, you know, the right, you know, directions, which wasn't a lot going on back then when I was coming out with it. You know, you get that, yeah, send it in and mail it, and you knew that would go into the garbage container as soon as you left the room. But you want to get that, you know, some from people that are doing the work, and since there's so many shows out there, you know, where you can get this, but it's not as easy to go to like Philly and you know California and everything else. So it's nice to have that also opportunity online where maybe they can just come in and or we can talk to them on the phone.
Wow, that's awesome. I look forward to it. And you know, obviously, when it comes out, let us know. We will definitely pump that as much as we can.
Yeah, and I'm gonna definitely back it. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, appreciate you guys.
Without a doubt.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So, Marcus, it is that time. So it's a point of the show in which we talk about just I don't want to say pop culture, but just culture, our culture. And just a little context, you know, we try to get together and we list these topics in our own Google Drive. And every so often, I'll read something that's been put there and I'll just start laughing. And what Marcus put on here was, and this is Marcus's words, I've been binging Living Single while drawing. Friends Straight colonized that show and created a lesser product. Discuss.
What?
What's there to discuss?
Well, no. I mean, I basically want to talk about how great Living Single
is. Hilarious.
Yeah, but
it's like you're not going to have Overton standing there helping you out with art designs or.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No. What I was saying was that that Friends basically they took the model of Living Single and they made a lesser show.
Right.
That
That's
was
what I meant.
Point. But yeah, no. But I've just been that show, man. It was so ahead of its time, and it's funny because I feel like everything's all in alignment because a lot of things you guys were talking about that era of you know, when you guys were making some of your early comics, you know, Steven had referenced you know, Brother Man, and we were talking about Milestone. And when I was watching Living Single, like I had this very visceral kind of nostalgic feeling of that era. Cause like while I was watching that show, I was also, you know, reading Brother Man and some of these books and Milestone. So I don't know, man. It's just been it was a cool blast from the past watching it.
It's just funny seeing him as Black Lightning.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, Scooter.
To me, I keep going back. That's Scooter. Hello.
I like to pretend it's all in the same universe. That was him.
That Scooter became Black Lightning.
Scooter, yeah. Maybe he had to, you know, he had to change his name for some reason and move to a different city. But yeah.
Oh,
that'd be an interesting comic book.
Actually, yeah. Somebody should do it.
See, I didn't watch a lot of Living Single. I watched some of it, but at that time I was watching maybe two or three shows a week. I was Cosby Show and Different World.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was pretty much it. And then I was just either doing other things at the time, drawing or doing other things during the week. I know a lot of times I was in school, but yeah, it was at that time I had a 2-show limit for a good couple of years.
Yeah, no, I get that definitely as an artist. But yeah, you can. It's on Hulu now, so you can always watch it. Okay. But one of the things I loved about that show too, on rewatching it, I feel like in my mind I thought that more time passed before Overton and Sinclair got together, but they got that out the way pretty quickly.
Yeah, they did.
That was kind of the formula for a lot of sitcoms, is they would have these kind of characters with the whole will they, won't they, and they wouldn't get together till the end. But no, I mean, Overton and Sinclair, man, they were meant to be together.
Yeah, they were.
When I was first getting my locks, people would confuse me for Overton.
Were you grew locks?
No, there was twists. There were short twists at the time, about an inch and a half long. And so people, I quite a few times I got stopped either in a bus or said, "Are you that guy from Living Single?"
I don't see that.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was the lobsters on top of my head, and but yeah, it was I got that quite a bit.
Okay.
Maybe you guys are long lost cousins.
Maybe.
Okay, so but yeah, what's up? Son?
Have you got a chance to read Bitter Root?
Yes. Tell
me about it.
I read it and I like reread it like immediately. Like I just Bitter Root. I mean, I'm assuming everyone who's listening to this knows about Bitter Root, but it's once again it's David Walker reuniting with Sanford Green, and also who's the other writer on that too? It's
David Walker.
Yeah, there's David Walker.
David Walker and Chuck Brown.
Chuck Brown, exactly. Yeah. Definitely. But they've just created. I don't want to give away too much, but I think that what they have when they've spoken about the concept of the book, they have talked about the core element of it where racism itself is an enemy or is a force in the book that is being fought against. And there's this family, this black family, and there's kind of a combination of science and I think magic. But it's an incredible book, man. You just have to read it. I encourage everybody to read it. Pre-order it through your comic shop if you have one, because that's what really helps keep these books alive. But I want to see this book going on for a long time. So everybody read Bitter Root if you haven't read it already. You read it, right, Tony?
I have not. I'm sorry. My 9 to 5 has been killing me.
No,
so I have it. I just haven't read it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know. I mean, Tony. Definitely, anyone who hasn't checked out Tony's interview before the book dropped, Tony got a chance to interview.
Got an exclusive.
Yep, you got an exclusive at New York Comic Con. So definitely peep that because you should be subscribed to us, and so if you're not, go subscribe and listen to Tony's interview.
Interview of who?
Chuck. David Walker and Sanford Green.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they really get into the book and what it was like to work for Image Comics, and the hard work that they've had to put in to make this book what it is. So, So what came out today? It came out at 8 o'clock this morning, and I think it ruined everybody's day. Avengers ended.
Yo, the reactions, the GIF reactions have been great. Nerds of Prey put out a call for people to put their GIF reactions in.
I gotta look at them. I haven't seen the I heard some reactions, but I haven't seen the reactions up close.
Yeah,
I have a mixed reaction to it.
What's yours?
I enjoyed it real, considering that the dark, way that the last movie ended. So I didn't expect for them to have a dramatic, action-packed sequence, but just seeing it and seeing how somber it was, it makes you curious. But I know the second trailer will be more crazy, and they're not going to give you everything. I see people whining and complaining. Oh, it's boring.
I know.
Kids.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you know what? This trailer made sense because that's one thing that's been on my mind since the end of Infinity War. Is like, yo, Tony is so far out into space.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Here's the funny thing, and because I thought about this, is how cold-blooded is Nebula to leave him on that planet? Because that she was on that planet with him.
That's true.
And she jetted.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Cold-blooded.
See, I just got to see. I don't
understand that.
I only saw it
why
once.
They want this big action-packed trailer? It's like it didn't fit the the movie, the way the movie was going. It doesn't fit to have that going yet.
Yeah. What were you saying, Steven?
I said I only saw Infinity War once, so I got to see it again because I know a lot happened in it.
Yeah, that's definitely one you got to see more than once. There is so much going on. And it actually holds up on rewatch really well. There's a lot of little things you catch.
Yeah. Is it? It's not on Netflix, is it?
I don't.
I think it is. Or
it might. I don't know. I know that Black Panther is, but I don't think Infinity War ever dropped on Netflix yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but it will be there. It definitely will be there.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel trailer. Thoughts?
Yeah, okay.
Was
one more thing about the Infinity War. I mean, the Avengers 4 trailer is that I had no problem with it. If I did, it'd probably be just revealing that Hawkeye was there. I thought I could have waited for that. But, it's just. I mean, to critique a trailer. I mean, it's kind of asinine sometimes. Right. But I liked it when I watched it, and I'm looking forward to the next trailer, and of course the movie. Yeah.
Well, they're getting those effects done too. That's a big reason why they just kind of gave us a little bit, because there's got to be a lot of special effects going on there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Speaking of special effects, they got Sam Jackson looking all of what? I don't know, 35, 40, whatever.
Yeah, that's like Do the Right Thing, Samuel Jackson.
Oh, if it was that Samuel Jackson, it'd be a different story.
Wow. So thoughts on the trailer?
I liked it. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the space thing, man. That was just, once I saw that, I was like, okay, it's real.
Yeah, I'm all about the cosmic stuff, man, and the scrolls and Kree.
Yeah, that part, man. Because
I want them to do Nova, really.
Nova Corps, yeah.
I would love to see Nova.
I mean, I think the door is wide open. Plus, everything I've heard about, they haven't released too many details about the next phase of MCU, but they did say that they're really going to get more into the cosmic stuff. So I think it's only a natural progression. Yo, that would be really gangster too, with DC having messed up Green Lantern. For them to come through and drop Marvel's Green Lantern. Yeah.
But you know what's really bugging me out?
What's up?
That the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer is supposed to drop tomorrow.
Oh, that Homecoming was it? Homecoming was last movie, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you Far From Home. Yeah, Far From Home.
Yeah, I said Homecoming. My bad. The next Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, is supposed to be dropping tomorrow.
I didn't even realize that.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
That I read that somewhere on the internet, so it must be true, right?
The internet never lies.
It's fake news.
Yeah.
Man.
So
now imagine if they with the X-Men franchise, if they have or would do something with the Shire Empire.
Oh God,
wow.
Yes. Oh my God.
See, that's what. Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna do a Dark Phoenix story, you got to get to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not even looking forward to seeing that. To me, it's like that version that they did.
Yeah, but I think the good news, me either. But I think the good news is like basically that movie's been shot and Marvel's still putting it out. But like that's the last Fox, X-Men movie before Marvel reboots it basically or does their own thing with it.
Does it right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to that though. Yeah, the Shi'ar and like you said, I forget who said it, but the Skrulls. Seeing them was really cool because we just haven't gotten that yet,
Yeah, and another thing I think it's nice. It was cool to see her in the train and duking out with that old woman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could have held back on that too.
Yeah, I wonder if they got a lot of concerned people because you know how the first trailer there was no context.
Beating up old ladies.
Yeah, just leave it like that until the movie comes out. Then you see what happens. I mean,
They'd be like, "Oh, okay." All right.
I mean, to us is obviously okay. Of course, she's a scroll, but no, other people like, yo, why is she an old woman?
Yeah, like if you didn't have any context for these shape-changing aliens, you would have been like,
you might have been triggered.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love my.
I could almost imagine like some crazy, like, oh, look at the liberal media beating up on old ladies.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
Looking was it the other Captain Marvel? We have a real problem.
Well, no, we were talking about this the other day. I'm actually excited because in this Captain Marvel, which takes place in the 90s, they established Monica Rambeau's mother,
right?
And now, and so that was like 25 years ago. So it's very feasible for them to bring Monica Rambeau in sometime soon.
Oh yeah,
but not put you in a little white lady on the bus.
Oh yeah, no. Monica would never get away with that. Even if it was an alien, it'd still be like,
oh gosh.
They'd be like, yeah, but that alien looked like my grandma.
Right, I can see the tweets now. Oh my god.
There's the 24-hour news cycle.
Yep.
People in the streets.
Oh god, I can see Tucker Carlson being like, Monica Rambeau watching old ladies. Oh man. Anyway, no, but actually on the subject of Spider-Man, I'm definitely I think we're like a week out from
I can't
from Miles Morales.
Yes.
Oh my god. Is it next week or we got next? Next week?
I think what is it?
It's
the 14th?
Yes,
it's the 14th.
It's the 14th.
Wow.
It's 14th.
Oh,
Trust me, I know my granddaughter and godson are already like, you ready?
Yup. I'm getting tickets.
I feel like everybody on Twitter has seen it but me. Like I keep seeing, oh my god, I saw this. I got the advanced screening, and I'm like, I low key hate every one of you.
Yeah, I was going to go after Chuck Collins on there because he had posted he got to see it, and I'm like, okay, Chuck, you didn't have to share that with everybody.
oh man,
damn it, Chuck.
Everybody. I didn't.
These people can hook us, man.
We're all in solidarity here, though. I haven't seen it yet, so we can have like a release date support group.
I know, we should.
Kumbaya, my brother.
So I don't know if anyone watches animation on Netflix or Hulu, but it's reported that Voltron this next season of Voltron will be its last.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah. Okay, that's right. That comes out this month, right?
Yep. And I can't wait. I've been following Voltron for a while. I've been always talking about it on the show, so it's going to be very interesting to see where this whole thing leads.
I'm definitely.
So
it's interesting. I was watching last night instead of going to sleep. I had on YouTube and I was watching Battle of the Planets.
Oh, I remember that. That was my joy.
They have the whole season out there, right?
Yes. That's why I couldn't go to sleep. I'm sitting there watching.
Wait. So,
the run they have on there is the one before the American version, before the American version was re-edited.
Yeah.
So it got you, man.
Yeah, it's still the American version, but it's different voices than the ones you know. It doesn't have Casey Kasem. It's another guy called Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem. Wow.
Yeah, and you know how you talk to yourself like, okay, that's the last one.
Yup.
And it never fails 2 hours later.
Yeah.
It's like over 100 episodes there, right?
Yes.
You said this is YouTube? You saw that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put this in.
He's writing it down right now. Okay.
Yeah, I started watching years ago.
I'm typing this joint in right now.
I'm gonna put it in watch later.
That was my joint. Oh my god. Oh my, you just took me back. I thought Steven talking about Atari 5200 took me back. I thought him talking about X-Men and Spider-Man as Amazing Friends took me back. But no, this took me back.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, you're going to be like me. I can see it now. Like, okay.
All right. Attack on Titan season 3 is on Hulu. Right now, it's just the letterbox version. So they haven't dubbed it yet. So if you want to check that out, that'll be fine. Castlevania. If you haven't seen Castlevania,
I still gotta catch up with it,
dude. Seriously,
yeah, I don't think I got past episode 3 of that. People say it gets better after that.
Oh,
are you watching the first season or the second season?
It was the first. Like last year, I watched the first few episodes of the first season and didn't go past like episode 3 or 4.
Well, let's put it this way.
I heard it picks up after that.
You can skip all that and just go right to season 2.
Yeah.
That's how crazy this show is crazy. So that again, I recommend that. Also, I don't know if anybody's on Tumblr, but Tumblr's done.
Like the whole platform is done?
Well,
people leave it,
speaking
right?
facetiously, but
yeah, that's right. That's what I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're banning all adult content, which basically everybody's leaving.
Yeah, everybody on there is for that.
So Tumblr's done. Other than that, what's everybody been reading or watching or stuff like that?
Oh, like I said, I'm in the Battle of the Planets and awaiting Game of Thrones. That's the only thing I care about.
Oh my, yes.
I'm watching the remake of Space Battleship Yamato, aka Star Blazers.
Ooh, really?
The Common Empire, yeah. It's coming out in chunks right now because it's in the process. The last episode to drop was 18, and now I wait 17, 19, I guess, to whatever is going to drop. It was already in the theaters in Japan,
and
now I'm waiting for it to come on the internet or the DVD to come out to get that next set. But it's called either Space Battleship Yamato 2199 is first season when they're going to Gamelon or Iskandar. And the second season is of the Common Empire, which you're in the process of right now. And I've been watching that.
Nice.
But I mean, other than the CW shows, Black Lightning, Black Lightning, Flash. I
gotta catch up on both. Yeah.
I gotta renew my. I was on someone else's Netflix subscription, but they dropped it because they were getting hacked.
Oh, man.
I gotta get my own subscription at some point soon.
Okay.
And but what I'm reading, is Bitterroot. I just read. Our friend Greg Anderson Elise's book just came to me a couple days ago. The Gentleman. Yeah,
so not the one that he just kickstarted.
No, the Gentleman. It's when he.
The Gentleman. Okay, all right.
Earlier this year, I think that just dropped. I got that in the mail as a surprise. I was like happy to see that. And that was a very interesting story. Issue 1. But I was as far as other comics, was I always mention the Low. That's like, on hiatus right now. Isola by Image, and there's others, but I get comics so irregularly, so I forget when I'm reading.
Oh, I hear you.
Like,
I hear you.
I have a big pile that I'm just trying to get to.
Yeah, that too is just between getting caught up and going on a semi-regular or not even regular basis, like once every 3 or 4 months.
My whole thing for comics is try to pick up, like I picked up Bitterroot, I read that. The LaGuardia, I picked that up. I haven't read it yet, but I've read every single Snyder issue of the Justice League because I love his writing.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Snyder is he's dope.
Yeah. When he was on Batman, I have every single issue that he wrote. It was just wow, candy. Listening and seeing the way that he developed his stories and everything. I wish more people would take that kind of a detail into their, concepts.
Yeah. You know who else is Tom King too on the DC too?
Oh yeah, he's becoming real good.
Sheriff of Baghdad, and I read his the volume 1 of Vision.
Oh, Vision, yeah. That was when I really got into him, was Vision.
And I read some of his first 4 or 5 issues of oh gosh,
Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle.
No, the one with in space, just the aliens. They came out. They used to be a group in the 80s.
Oh, Omega Man.
Omega Man, yes, Omega Man.
Omega. He wrote Omega Man, really? Wow.
Yeah. And I can't really compare it to the first one because I have them, but I forgot what they were. I totally forgot what the premise of Omega Man back in the day.
They were in space.
Yeah,
I do remember that. I remember they used to run into Green Lantern every so often. Yeah.
I think Keith Giffen wrote
it.
Back in the 80s, I think Keith Giffen wrote.
Okay.
You know what else I've been reading? Because I haven't had a ton of time because I've been on my deadlines too. But I did get a Comixology had an X-Men sale a few weeks ago.
Right.
The Fall of the Mutants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just like read an episode of that, an issue of that, like after I finish drawing and I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'll just read an issue, and yo, that takes me back, man. Because that was when I really got into X-Men.
I haven't collected X-Men on a regular basis.
No, I could not get into it now.
Oh, Fall of the Mutants.
I can get into it now.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's funny because I had recently read The Mutant Massacre.
Yeah.
That's the arc that got me into X-Men.
Yeah, that was a little bit before Fall of the Mutants.
Yeah, there was a little bit before that. So what am I reading? I mentioned it in a show that we taped a couple days ago that I'm trying to read all of Frank Miller's Daredevil.
Really?
Because I mean the last season of Daredevil it was really so good, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go back and I'm just gonna start really go through this stuff, and I like the way he writes Daredevil.
Because I picked up Daredevil after his run. It was like just before the Dave Mazzucchelli run, and into Dave Mazzucchelli's run, and then John Romita Jr. and Anno Senti's run on it after that.
Right.
So those are the two eras of Daredevil that I was doing, and that was after Anno Senti and John Romita Jr. left the book. I kind of fell off it. And after that it got good again with who was writing it? Who was writing it after that?
I remember the Anna Senti era. I don't know who did after her.
I don't know. I fell off after the Mazzucchelli run. After that, I was like, okay. And Miller wasn't on there. Just didn't have the oomph that, when Miller took it over and he just came up with these stories and Elektra and everything. Kind of lost.
Well, he came back. When Kingpin discovers his identity? Back.
Yeah.
That's right. He was writing and Mazzucchelli was drawing at that time.
Yeah. That was what was that? I keep getting that series that runs name.
Born Again.
Born Again, right. I keep thinking Life, Death, that was excellent.
Which they kind of, I like how they kind of had elements. They didn't do Born Again this season, but they definitely had a lot of elements of it.
Yeah.
That was so well done, though.
Can we talk about that? Because we haven't really done that.
Looking at the sequences of Bullseye.
The
repercussions, man. Oh.
Yo, I would really appreciate the fact that they made Bullseye's abilities as goofy as they are in the comics. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of times they'll try to make things like really, real world or over explain it, but they're like, nah, he can just throw things with deadly precision. And
which is crazy.
I even think about being goofy because it was so deadly.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Absolutely.
Goofy is the wrong word, but I'm just saying it's not like.
That's just your perspective, but I'm saying this is so deadly. I was like, this got scared.
Yeah. No, you're right. I actually didn't mean goofy. I just mean more the sense that it's not. They always try to make everything so grounded. And,
I hear you.
You're not really. somebody do that in real life, but I like the
Right.
idea.
Yeah,
But
it's
the
not
way
every
he
day
came
that.
in there and just
Yeah.
said, you know, when Daredevil came in and said, "Okay, I got this," and then he realized, "Oh shit."
Yup.
I don't got this.
I don't
Yeah.
got this. Yeah.
Come on, after he say Foggy.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yo, but that scene when he say Foggy, when his head
Yeah.
comes, his face slowly comes in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, that was like I kind of screamed because that was so. This is the way they framed it.
Yeah.
The whole composition of it just had me like shaking.
Yeah.
I think
Man,
I
I
watched
we
that
should probably say
episode 2
spoilers.
times.
What's that,
Wait
Rob?
a minute, wait. When did Daredevil season 3 come out?
Yeah, you're right. I was just about to well, you know, there's just so much dope stuff because you know Matt, you know, he's super skilled at fighting, but there's this element this season where he had to like fight, you know, Bullseye and Kingpin, and also just deflect all the crazy shit that Bullseye was throwing at people, like while he was fighting. Like,
It was definitely
amazing.
the end stage of a video game. It was definitely that.
Yeah.
All the
It
bosses.
did feel like that.
And not to bring up the dead, to look at the fight scenes of Daredevil and then having to substitute that for Iron Fist.
I know where you were going with that one. Yeah.
Wow.
I just shake my head every time I look at that. Like, are you for real?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yo, I mean, there's no better testament to what you're saying than the prison fight.
Oh, yes.
Yo, that was, oh my god, man.
I may have to watch that
I
again.
geeked out on that prison fight sequence. I was like, oh, come on now.
Yeah. It was just brutal, man. And he didn't have his costume on. He just was. He didn't even have the mask.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is when he gets out of the prison, he jumps to the car, and the guy just drove it off of the darn thing. I was like, damn, Matt don't got no luck.
And when they show the driver at first, I said, this is not going to end well. I had a suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. They didn't. That's right.
This driver was a killer.
Yeah. No, this was definitely. I think this was my favorite Daredevil season.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they hear that they're not going to do it. I'm like, oh, stop it.
That's all money though, man. That's all.
Yeah, of course.
Business.
I'm still not sold that we haven't seen the last of this version of Daredevil. I really do. I would be very shocked.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right because in each announcement they've basically said that the characters will live on in other iterations. You know, so presumably through the streaming service. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the same series continuing because Netflix still has the rights to all those episodes that they produced.
Oh, really?
Marvel still retains the rights to keep doing those characters.
Yeah,
Right.
but if they don't have the same creative team, will it be the same?
No.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like if you do Luke Cage, you got to keep Cheo, you know, in that whole team too.
You know, because they can come out with Daredevil and it'll be like a rip-off of Batman, the old Watusi version. You know.
I mean, Marvel's got too much money invested to do that.
Hey, stranger things have been done.
I suppose.
It's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they know. I think they know that people are pretty invested in these versions of the characters.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, to change it, I mean, I would think they would have to go along the lines of these versions of characters. That's what sold them on. That's what sold us on the characters.
Yeah. Everything I've read seems to point to that it would be those characters. It just might be they'd appear in other series or something like that. But I don't think they're gonna switch it up.
Well, we'll hope not. Remember, they're talking to John Cena about Captain America.
Stop it.
That's not real though, right?
That's not even funny.
I'm like shock value.
Not exactly right. I'm sitting here clutching my chest. I'm like,
oh my god. I was thinking about maybe the version of Captain America that was like evil, And you have to like
Well,
fight
first
at
off,
one
he's
point.
going to emerge into the scene with his own music on.
Oh my god!
Yo, do y'all? Speaking of which, do y'all remember some of the bad Captain America movies, like
Woo.
Yes.
or the TV show where he
Yes.
had the motorcycle helmet?
Yeah,
And the plastic shield that you can see through.
Oh my
It
god!
was a frisbee. It was a frisbee.
Yeah.
God. I remember the movie where they had to like they pasted fake ears
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
holy
I
cow.
heard about that, but I don't remember that.
Oh, you can see it on Netflix. I'm not Netflix. You can see it on YouTube.
It'll be on YouTube.
You can see
It'll
the
be
new
you want
Captain
to.
America on YouTube. I highly recommend it for
For a serious laugh.
that
Serious laugh.
was around the era of the Fantastic Four 90s
I
movie,
knew you were gonna say that. The Fantastic.
Oh.
Oh my god.
which is also on YouTube. Which
I don't think
may
it
or
was
may
as
not
bad
have
as
watched.
Fantastic Four, though.
Oh, that was a VCR favorite in the comic book
That was.
circles.
Right.
Oh, the 90s version?
Yeah, you always
Yeah.
see any comic book convention, whether it's in Philly or New York, you see someone booth with the VCRs and the VHSs
Yep.
and have showing Fantastic Four along with other bootleg VCRs of Japanese animation or anything else.
Yeah.
That movie is amazing. They abuse the piano. They kind of go into the soundtrack goes into this this soft piano riff like for no good reason at moments when it just doesn't call for it.
Oh, you did dive, huh? Didn't you? I never.
I actually watched it. I did watch it. Yeah.
At least Swamp Thing had Adrian Bardo. Okay, I can at least say, you know.
I remember Swamp Thing.
You never saw Swamp Thing?
At the time, I
No,
liked
I didn't.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it either. Actually,
I've never seen it. I used to see the advertisements in the back of the comic book, and I'm like, this is a movie?
Yeah.
It was a movie.
I'm gonna have to search that one out and find that too.
Yes,
Hey, I didn't recommend it. I just mentioned it. Okay.
I know it's like a completionist streak, though. You know, I gotta be able to say I saw it.
It's a man in a rubber suit.
Oh yeah.
But is it better than Flash Gordon? Have y'all seen Flash Gordon?
Oh yeah, I saw
yeah.
Flash.
Yes.
Oh my god.
It was
Well,
okay.
Paul was good.
Flash Gordon was much more ambitious than Swamp Thing.
Yes.
That's
So
true.
Swamp Thing didn't have a hard road to climb as much as Flash Gordon. And I saw some of the Flash Gordon. I think someone posted that on Facebook yesterday.
Yes,
I'm
they did.
Wow,
They did.
Yeah, Flash Gordon did go for it. I will say that.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have today's special effects, but they didn't hold
They
back.
went for it. They really did.
Yeah,
And they took themselves seriously.
dead serious.
They were
No,
dead
not the
serious.
Queen song. The Queen song, okay,
part of it.
that was the best part of the movie.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
man.
See, I remember liking it, but I still have a vivid enough memory of it now to say that was bad.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the one and the future James Bond was in there.
Oh, which one?
What's
Was
his name?
the-
He was one of the tree people.
Oh,
Tree people.
ooh, wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah. Oh, what was his name? Oh God.
Which Bond though? Which Bond was it?
The one before Pierce Brosnan.
Oh,
Before
Timothy
Pierce-
Dalton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dalton.
Okay.
Oh my god.
He was the one because he was the one that was feeling the Ming's daughter. It was jealous of Flash because Ming's daughter liked Flash.
Right.
I'm surprised I remember this much about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm like, okay.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Now you're gonna make me go back just to take a look.
You have to now. You have to.
You'll get caught up.
I already got a list of things to watch now.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna start with Battle of the
I'm
Planets.
saying go Flash, go.
Go Flash, go.
Oh God.
Did we spoil something?
Well, no, Kevin hadn't seen Daredevil.
Oh,
I mean, we didn't do any big.
What did he say? Ending?
Yeah, we kept it spoiler light. So
I mean, nobody died. Maybe
You know they gotta fight.
they gotta fight.
Yeah. I think the cat's out of the bag that there's fighting on Daredevil.
No, it was a Daredevil musical.
Exactly. This is like the hard courtroom drama season.
Oh my god!
Like Law and Order, Hell's Kitchen.
No, it's the night court edition.
Oh God! Oh God! Don't put that song in the head. I'll be up at tonight.
I got Flash Gordon trivia.
What you got?
I got, you know what football team that Flash Gordon played for in the movie?
Oof, I actually don't know.
I think it was the New York Jets.
New York Jets?
I think so.
Oh, so they had real
really
teams.
paid attention to
They
this
didn't make
movie.
up a team?
No, I think he said it. I think if I remember correctly, I think he said it. I'm going on memory now, so I could have misremembered it.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna ask Google. Hold on a
The
second.
New York Jets. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Wow.
That's good world building. World building.
He did play a football player.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. So, last thing. So the thing I have been watching has been Titans on the DC universe.
That's right. It comes on tonight too. Or it came on tonight.
The new one came out already?
Yeah, so it comes out on Friday night.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I just binge watch it. But all right.
I gotta get this app, man. I gotta see this.
I got to see the first episode. It wasn't as bad as people were making it seem.
Nice.
That's what I'm saying. It was not. It's not even nearly as bad as I thought.
No.
And as the episodes go on, it kind of gets better and better.
And violent. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I saw the clip online. They released like a trailer clip for Jason Todd.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope.
Oh, Jason Todd, he's off the chain. He's off.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, he's got to be. He's Jason Todd.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna have to watch the rest of them. I was kind of like, okay, this is definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Oh, and by the way, Steven, you are 100% correct. He did play for the New York Jets.
Oh, don't do that. That will be in my head.
It looks like there's even like they even shot a shot of him in the uniform.
Really?
Football card. Yeah.
I remember too much about this. I remember too much about it. It's scary.
Well, that's the highlight for
Would
the
you say
Jets.
that you remember? Would you say you remember more about Flash Gordon than you did Infinity War?
Don't do that. Don't do
Wow.
If you ever do Jeopardy, you better hope they have a Flash Gordon category.
that.
I'll go for Flash for 50.
Yep. Well, a daily double. I'll bet it all, Alex.
I lose it all.
Oh, man. I remember the actor's name too. Oh gosh.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, that I don't even know.
Sam Jones.
Yep, I'm looking at it right now. It's Sam Jones. Yep. You are the.
You sure you only watched it
scholar on
one
Flash
time?
Gordon.
Huh?
You are on fire.
Yeah. Listen. This is an anomaly right here.
You got Flash Gordon underoos.
Wait
No.
a second. What is it? Is Marky Mark going to be playing Flash Gordon? They've got some pictures of him.
Stop it! No,
Wow.
no.
Oh wait, hold on.
do
A second.
that.
What are they talking about here?
I hope.
Oh, okay,
I
no.
hope-
He's not. It was
Good.
just something about him riding a Flash Gordon motorcycle.
Yeah, I hope to never see a Flash Gordon reboot.
Yeah.
But you know it's coming.
Exactly.
I mean, why not? They do Robin Hood like every other year.
That was a fail.
I watched that. I was like, okay, Jamie's the only black dude running around. Got to teach the white guy how to shoot and fight. I'm like, okay.
Oh, really? Okay. But wait, does he do it without being a mystical Negro, or is he?
No, he's the regular Joe, just a great African dude that wants to, fight the good fight and, keep our heritage going as the one black man in the movie.
Oh, okay. So what's your what do you think of the film as a whole, having seen it?
The action scenes were interesting, the way they did the bow and arrow scenes, but story-wise, they left it open for another one. But I'm like, they're not gonna get it.
Oh, they're not getting another one. Nah,
No.
That movie lost all kinds of money.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I forget what the numbers are, but it didn't even come close to making its money back.
Wow. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, tell a new story, Hollywood.
Why would they do that when you could just mime everything over and over and over again?
Right.
Because it's like, at a certain point, you've mined all the good stuff.
There's no such thing as an original concept if you ask Hollywood.
Yeah. There's a few, but yeah, they I don't know. I feel like that bubble's got to pop soon.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
Although now that I think about it, since we are talking about good movies, Black Panther, first comic book movie to get a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah.
Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Deservedly so.
Wow.
Well, they had no choice considering what it did, and
Exactly.
to the film. What, were they going to ignore it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Academy will,
movies
but
in the past.
Oh, they will, but to a point, no matter what, it's always going to be brought up.
Right.
So I guess they're like, oh, well, give them a nomination and shut them up. I would be shocked if they get like a major award. Now that would be the icing on the cake.
All the white people loving A Star Is Born. So
I have not seen it.
I'm just saying.
What, they're not going to do the Wakanda pose on stage?
Oh, you got to.
You have to.
Yo, man. February 2018, man. That was
this year.
Yeah.
That's how long this year's been. All right, so I think it might be that time to wrap it up.
All right, well, guys, thanks for having us on here, man. It was great.
Yeah, thank you very much. No problem. Finally got on.
Before you go, let us know where we can find you on social media.
Oh, yes. I'm on, Twitter at @nstephenharris, and Facebook at @nstephenharris, and same thing with Instagram.
All right.
I guess people leaving Tumblr in droves, so don't worry about Tumblr.
That's true.
And for me, it's on Instagram, it's Robert Garret _Exmore Studios. And on Twitter, Keelan Jakes. And on Facebook, you can always just type in Exmore Studios, and you'll find me there.
Awesome. Marcus,
and everyone definitely. Oh, I'm sorry, Tony, but I was gonna say everyone definitely follow them so you know as soon as your Jala Kickstarter drops.
That's right.
And there's a lot of there's a lot of reward tiers that have the if you haven't read it yet, they have the first issues as well, so you can get caught up on the whole thing.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, we gotta give our stores out. There's exmorestudios.bigcartel.com. That's Exmore Studios with an S, plural, and nsworks.bigcartel.com. So I have we both have a Jala, and we have our own books as well on those stores. So come check us out at those two sites.
Yeah. Please support these brothers. A lot of good quality work.
Call now. Supplies limited.
That's right.
And you get a free Fresh Gordon pen, okay, from Steve.
Yeah.
What's that?
Steve's giving out a free Fresh Gordon pen.
Oh my God.
Oh man,
Wow.
I can see the infomercial right now. Kind of having like a smile and a slow turn towards the camera with the pen. You know?
And two guys saying, "Yo, can I hold that?" No, my brother.
You got it.
You gotta get your own.
Oh man, it writes itself.
Yo, let me hold that.
It does.
Let me hold that pen, my brother.
Oh no, you got to get your own.
Marcus?
Yeah, you can find me just basically www.marcuskwame.com. That's got all my social media, artwork, and comic links. So yeah, that's the spot.
And if people wanted to get up on that cash and carry, what do they do?
Well, the Kickstarter campaign has ended successfully. Thank you to everybody who backed it. So book 2 is coming soon. You know, I'm putting the final touches, the mustard and the relish on it, artwork wise, and it should come out early-ish, maybe next year. So definitely look for it. What's that?
That's congratulations. I don't think I knew you had a Kickstarter. I would have shared it.
Oh yeah. Sean Pryor was promoting it a lot. I was too, but yeah, it worked out, man. Good. Well, what I was gonna say though, if for anyone who has not read Cash and Carry, which I'll just describe what it is real quick for anyone who doesn't know, but it's an all ages middle school detective story. You know, it features a diverse cast of characters, and not gimmicky diverse, but actually just kind of inclusive. You know, and book 1 came out as a graphic novel. So right now you can actually find that online if you just Google Cash and Carry. Carrie is Carrie, like the name Carrie. It's the name of the detectives, the duo. So just Google it, and yeah, like honestly, if you purchase book 1, you know, you'll definitely want to purchase book 2 when it comes out. And also we could just use your support because it's published through Action Lab, but the best way to ensure that more books are made in the future is to support book 1 and 2 when it comes out.
And what's how you spell Carrie?
Carrie.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's it though. That's it for me. Just support Cash and Carry. And also Snow Days, you know, it's happening. It's really happening. Just keep your eyes on the Snow Days website, snowdayscomic.com. And also because we're gonna have something new for you soon. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Also follow Snow Days on Twitter, at Snow Days Comic. So, and that's it.
Nice.
That's all my stuff.
Nice. That's all your stuff. You sure?
I think so.
I forgot to get my website. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Website is www.nstevenworks.com.
Okay,
to see all the wonderful work that may be on there that I might have done.
And there's a lot of good stuff. All right, and Tony, where can people find you? And what have you been working on?
I've been working on my 9 to 5. That's what I've been working on. So people can find me anthonyotero.com. So that has pretty much all my work or links to all my work. Latin Negro with 1 N on Twitter and Instagram. I would say Tumblr, but no. So check out Puerto Rico Strong. I wrote a small little story within that anthology that came out in the spring. All proceeds go to Hurricane Maria relief. And I'm working on a few things here and there. I'll let you know.
Cool. All right, people.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Good night, everyone. This was great.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And shout out to everyone in the audience. Shout out to Regine Sawyer as always, doing her crocheting and listening at the same time.
That's right.
Regine.
You know, it's getting cold. I may have to get a scarf from her. Seriously.
Oh, you got to. You got to.
Seriously. All right, y'all. Thanks again. Great show. And we'll have to have you back on again.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right, take care.
y'all.
Right. Good night.
All right, peace.
Peace.